Hey, what's up guys? Rideshare guy here. And today I've got a video for you about what it's like to order from Uber Eats. So this is actually one of the services I've been thinking about trying next as a driver or courier, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of you guys have been asking me to review this service. And the first thing I actually do before I try out any new service as a driver or delivery person or whatever it might be is to try it from the customer's side of the app. So, one good reason is obviously because you get free food. A lot of these delivery apps will give you free meals or free delivery fees, and obviously with Uber and Lyft they give you free rides. And the other reason is because I want to see how it works, right? Sort of like doing your homework with a job application. That's sort of one of the other reasons why I like to try it out from the customer's side of the app. So if you guys have never heard of Uber Eats, it's actually Uber's standalone new delivery platform, and I'm going to show you guys right here on my phone sort of what it looks like. So here I am on the hopefully this will work, but here I am on the Uber app, right, the Uber passenger app, and you see how up in the right hand corner there's like a little button that's with a plate and a fork. So I'm going to click that, and then boom, it takes me over to Uber Eats, right? And so that's their kind of standalone, hopefully the glare is not too bad, but that's their standalone app, and I'll go through it a little bit more later. But so now you guys know it's actually a standalone app, and it's basic Uber Eats is just like a Postmates and Doordash, right? Where you can order from any restaurant on their list and then get food delivered. And they have a pretty extensive list. The actual courier will go and place the order, or Uber Eats will go and place the order, and then it comes to you just sort of like a Postmates or Doordash. And I'm not going to go too much into that because I've sort of covered that before, but I am going to talk about the instant delivery option with Uber Eats because I think that's pretty cool, and that's sort of one of the biggest benefits of Uber Eats and why people are doing it. And I'll explain right now how it works. Basically what it is you have 5 to 7, as a customer, you have 5 to 7 different options, and instead of drivers going to the restaurants and placing the orders when you make the order from a customer side, the drivers actually at the beginning of their shift go to like an Uber hotspot or something like that, and they get all the food at once, right? So they'll go to the restaurants or go to the places, get all the food. So now they're rolling around with like different meals and different cookies and all these kind of different things, so that whatever combination the customer orders on Uber Eats, they'll basically be able to fill it in real time, right? So it's sort of like ordering an Uber X, right? I'd kind of equate it to that type of experience, but instead of them going and placing the order, basically that Uber Eats delivery person has all the food in their car ready to go. And there was actually a pretty funny skit with Stephen Colbert where he interviewed Travis Kalanick. I'll leave a link below, you guys can check it out, but he kind of made fun of, he was like, man, I don't want a bunch of Uber drivers rolling around with tuna sandwiches. So that was pretty funny. Definitely check it out. I'm going to show you guys the app real quick. I mean, I found the selection to be pretty diverse. So if you hit here and it says instant delivery right here, so these are the instant delivery options. You can see that right now it's like 4 minutes till instant delivery. So that means that this food can be here in 4 minutes. And, it might not be super clear and easy to see. You guys can check it out on Uber Eats. But you can see these are all the different options and price points. So they have a pretty extensive selection, right? That's 5 or 7 things right there. So it's definitely not 1 or 2 things, or even kind of jokingly a tuna sandwich, right? I found the selection to be pretty diverse. Actually, the menu rotates each and every single day. So not only are they adding new restaurants, 1 or 2 new different restaurants every day, but also, for example, if you get chicken from one restaurant one day, the next day they'll have beef or something like that, sort of mixing it up too with the variety, even if it is from the same restaurant. So that was kind of cool. The prices definitely seem reasonable. Some of the items are more expensive than the listed menu price when I looked it up and sort of verified. A Bay City sandwich, which is a popular sandwich place here in LA, was actually $11 for a large turkey sandwich with the works on the Uber Eats app, but I know that sandwich is like $8 or $9, I think, if you buy it at the store. But then a salmon plate that I saw from Z Garden here in Santa Monica was actually $11 on Uber Eats app, and when I looked it up on their website, it was $13. I guess the one on the website, maybe if you go into the store and order it, it's a little bit bigger, and I don't think they include the salad with Uber Eats, so that's one thing to consider. But the prices are definitely reasonable. It's not like they're trying to upcharge you a ton of money. So I actually placed my first Uber Eats order, and I ordered, like I said, from a restaurant called Z Garden in Santa Monica. This was a new place I've never tried before. Eats actually shows you a pretty nice picture of the food. Like, it's a high quality picture. You actually see what you're going to get. It has a description when you click on the picture, and then obviously it tells you the cost and where it's from, right? What restaurant. One thing I didn't like, that there wasn't a restaurant rating. I mean, me personally, I love Yelp, so I'm always checking, before I go anywhere, I'm always looking on Yelp. If I want to try a new place, or even if I just want to see what I should order at a current place, I'm always checking Yelp. And this restaurant turned out to have 3.5 star rating, which is obviously not great. I usually try to eat at 4 stars and above, so maybe that's why they don't show the ratings. But either way, that was kind of one complaint, I guess you would say, that I had about the actual ordering process and on the Uber Eats side of the app. So I actually ordered the food right around 12:15 lunchtime, and I got it in 6 minutes. So I actually timed the delivery guy, and I placed a second order that same day about a half hour or hour later, and it took 20 minutes. So, and I placed a few orders since. That seems to be the general range. I think 6 minutes is on the fast side, but generally you'll get it in that like 5 to 15 or 20 minutes range, which is obviously significantly faster than any order you'll place with Postmates or DoorDash, because the drivers aren't driving around with the food, right? They have to go to the restaurant, park, order it, pick it up, and then bring it to you. So it's definitely a different experience. Now, the first order that I got was actually the salmon plate that I talked about, right? So it was like packaged in a nice little combo, salmon, on top of a bed of rice with a couple little veggies and some hummus and a little container for dipping garlic sauce or something like that. And it was good. The food wasn't super hot, so I actually stuck it in the microwave for about 60 seconds. And the salmon itself, like as for the actual food, was a tiny bit overcooked for me personally, but still had a lot of good flavor. The rice and the hummus was good. So overall, it was definitely a fresh meal. I didn't taste like it didn't taste like it'd been rolling around in the back of someone's car for hours upon a time. It sort of tasted like it had just been ordered, but maybe didn't get to you super quick. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. I actually placed a second order because I wanted to experiment a little more, and I put that in the fridge overnight and then gave it to my wife for lunch the next day. Got her review. According to my wife, she says that meal was bomb. So if you take her advice, even if you can kind of reheat the food, it was definitely good. I mean, so that's sort of one way. For me, I think I paid $5 for the delivery fee, and the price is obviously going to vary, and going forward might be higher or lower depending on promotions and all that stuff. But that could be a good way to cut down on the delivery costs, because if you order 2 meals at once, you'll only pay 1 delivery fee, right? So, you're not getting like the freshest of the freshest food anyway. So maybe you refrigerate one of those meals that you order and then eat it the next day. I mean, I guess you just want to think what will reheat well. I mean, usually stuff, like Asian food or Mediterranean stuff like that, chicken, veggies, rice will reheat pretty well, but obviously a sandwich from Bay Cities is got to be eaten the day of. So, one thing I noticed, speaking of sandwiches, is there wasn't an option to add or remove condiments or anything like that. So with Uber Instant option, if you're a really picky eater, you may not like that aspect. And, one thing that I thought was weird actually was that you have to meet the driver at the curb. So I didn't even realize this. I'm sitting here waiting for my order, and then the Uber app notifies me that the Uber Eats driver was there. So I went to my front door, looked outside. I'm used to ordering on Postmates and DoorDash, so I was sort of waiting for this guy to come up to my door, and it was like a standoff. I was sitting there at the window like staring at him, and it looked kind of like he was staring at me, and after a minute or two I finally went out there, and then that's when I realized I was sort of looking at the app at that time. And you actually have to go meet the courier on Uber Eats. At least you have to meet the courier at their car. So that's one nice thing for the drivers, but it's also, I think there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, because I didn't even realize that from the passenger side. I mean, it was sort of odd though, I'd say, like rolling up to this Uber Eats driver, and he has all these towels in his back seat and like these big hot bags that sort of look kind of like used and grimy, and I don't know, it didn't seem super sanitary, but I mean, I guess the food is packaged and all that, so I don't know, maybe Uber has to do something about that, and it's a new service, so they're still working things out. But As far as actual payment, so I'm trying this from the customer side of the app, obviously. So I paid $17 for that first lunch, for that salmon lunch. It was good. Was it worth $17? Good. I don't know, man. It's pretty expensive, I think, for lunch. Most lunches, though, are going to be in that $15 to $20 range. And obviously, you're paying for not only the convenience, but also the speed, right? I mean, if this meal can get to you in 5 to 20 minutes, that's faster than any place you can order from. And, in true Uber fashion, it says right there on the app, it was very clear actually that there's no need to tip. So that was one thing I thought that was sort of interesting. Like, even me, someone who's familiar with these services, couldn't figure out that I needed to go meet the courier on the sidewalk, but I did see over and over that there was no need to tip. So that's one thing to consider if you're driving or if you're a customer either. Uber kind of clearly makes that known. I'm sure you could still hook up your delivery person with a tip and they would be pretty happy though. So for me, the other thing I just want to mention is that ride credit actually applies to these orders. So that was one cool thing for me. Like, I had a $20 actually Uber ride credit. So like on Uber, the passenger, rideshare service, I had a $20 credit. And so your Uber account and Uber Eats account are sort of linked, even though they're through a separate app. And I actually somehow applied one of those ride credits to my Uber Eats order. So I got the meal for free. So that was pretty cool. I'll leave a link below, because if you guys haven't signed up as an Uber passenger or for Uber Eats, you can actually get 2 credits, right? So you can get one for signing up for a passenger. You can get that free ride, use it on Uber or use it on Uber Eats. And then you can get another one using Eats-Uber Rideshare Guy, and I'll leave that in the show notes so you can check it out. So you can kind of get like double credits. So that's pretty cool. Overall, good first experience with Uber Eats. I mean, I'm trying out this Uber Instant option, and obviously you can't go in expecting this super hot, super fresh meal, because the meals are rolling around in the back of someone's car. But the speed of delivery was huge. I mean, some of the Postmates and Doordash orders I've placed in the past have taken over an hour, especially during lunch when it's busy. So I guess that's what I'd say, kind of like overall, number one, food was great. Food wasn't great, but it was good, a little bit expensive, and then obviously very fast. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this review of Uber Eats. Last thing I want to touch on, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of working smarter, not harder. We all watch the money that's coming in, but I actually like QuickBooks Self-Employed app because it helps you track the money going out too, right? Got to think about those expenses. Now, as an independent contractor and a business owner, it's your responsibility to log all the mileage, expenses, and QBSE actually does all that for you within just one app, right? So check it out. Come tax time, you'll save more, pay less in taxes. I think that's something we all want. So make sure you check it out. And then, of course, thank you for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Feel free to ask me any questions you might have, and I'll definitely get back to you. All right, take care, guys.